Hey guys, thanks for joining me on my journey of joy, grief, and authenticity. Today, I really just wanted to talk about some podcasts that I came across that I thought were really good for grievers. And so, yeah, I'm just going to throw a few out there and see what bites. Okay, so some of you may have seen this on my Facebook page, but I really like the podcast Terrible, Thanks for Asking. It is by Nora McInerny, and I think I'm saying her name right. She does a podcast through NPR. It is really well done, and she interviews lots of different people about their most difficult times in life. So it could be everything from things like losing a loved one, but also just other things that happen in life that make life difficult and challenging. And so I really like it. I appreciate the conversations that she brings to the table, and I still have yet to listen to a lot of them, but she also has a couple really good TED Talks that you can go and find, and they are so good too. So another podcast that has been really motivating for me, it's not actually for grievers at all. It's for people in sales, actually probably more for men in sales. And this is hosted by my friend Brian Davis, and it's called the Sales Warrior Podcast. I love it because it's very go get 'em. It is not taking any excuses with yourself. It really is motivating, and whenever I like to listen to it on the way to work, and he's also done a lot of Facebook Live videos, and I've loved to listen to that commentary while I'm on my way to work and maybe throwing a pity party for myself or not necessarily feeling like in the mood of tackling the day. Man, I always feel motivated after hearing Brian talk, and so I think you guys really would too. I was honored to get to be on his podcast recently, and so you can find that, and we talk a little bit about what it's like to really start a vlog like this and have the courage to be vulnerable and put yourself out there, and kind of what it was like for me as I was starting up this joy, grief, and authenticity blog. I absolutely recommend finding a lot of other podcasts just by Christian speakers, whether it's pastors or just Christians with a really solid foundations in the Lord, because whenever you're grieving or going through a hard time in life at all, you really do need God's word just being funneled into you constantly, and it really does strengthen you from my perspective. And so some of the ones that I would recommend would be looking up some by John Piper. I especially like John Piper for people who are going through a hard time because he talks about joy so consistently. It has really been kind of enlightening to me. I hadn't realized how much of his sermons were it all circles back to joy. It's kind of amazing, really. Some other really legit speakers I would recommend would be Timothy Keller, another great pastor that's got a solid foundation. I also love to hear the ladies. I would recommend Jen Hatmaker's For the Love podcast, and Jamie Ivey. She does the Happy Hour with Jamie Ivey. And both of them I really, really love. Jamie Ivey is she's just a real girl. You can listen to her first podcast and you're like, oh, I think she's like me. She's literally probably recording this with her cell phone in her bedroom. Like, she's just an average person. And then slowly over time, she began getting sponsors like Fabletics, and she kind of created this really, really legit podcast. But the first one was legitimately, actually, I think it was a phone conversation with her best friend, and they recorded it. And it became a podcast. And it was like this happy hour. It's all about a happy hour with a friend. So those are just some examples. There are so many more out there. But these were just some that I thought I would mention to you guys because other lovely people in my life have mentioned them to me. And it has been a game changer for me. Just remember that despite all the difficult things that may come up in life, that there is joy that you can find within it. And so joy comes with the mourning. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.